Tonight on 7 News, Iran in ruins, a devastating day 3 of Operation Epic Fury, but there's still no signs of surrender. A near miss for Australian troops in Dubai, their base hit by rocket fire. Grave fears of economic casualties, how the war could blow up grocery prices and cripple Australia's mortgage belt. Hundreds of jobs slashed, the Premier's plan to cut the budget bottom line, the key department set to be axed. Doctors strike a pay deal, but other health workers are still locked in a bitter wage fight. And crunch time for the Jack Jumpers inside the final preparations ahead of a do-or-die clash.
This is 7 News Tasmania with Kim Millar.
Good evening, everyone. We'll have the latest on the Iran crisis soon, but first we want to bring you developing local news. The Premier has announced a major shake-up of one of the government's biggest departments. State growth is being dismantled with 250 jobs set to go in a bid to drive growth and repair the state's dire finances.
Getting on with the job has long been the Premier's catch cry.
Now is not the time to rest or be complacent. Now is the time to do more. Now is the time to keep building Tasmania.
In today's State of the State address, Jeremy Rockcliffe unveiled one of the most ambitious plans yet.
The Department of State Growth will undergo a total transformation. It will be repositioned to make the most of this new era of opportunity that awaits us.
It'll be abolished, along with public service jobs, with a view to boosting economic growth.
Over the coming months, we'll create a new delivery-focused department called Building Tasmania.
It'll be headed by Minister Kerry Vincent and will oversee key areas such as roads, transport and major infrastructure projects. Homes Tasmania will be brought into the agency to fast-track more housing. 250 public service jobs to go as the government seeks to streamline services, with cost savings estimated at more than $250 million over 5 years.
It will get things built. It will get things done.
2 other entities will also be set up, an economic development body and another dedicated to tourism, events and the arts.
To keep forging our state's future as a destination economy and a leader in the arts.
But it could open up a new fighting front with unions.
I don't think losing 250 jobs can ever be seen as a positive step.
Business is already on board.
What we'll see with this model, if we get it right, is a much more focused department which really can help to aid business across the state.
The opposition says the plans are a mere restructure from a government that's running out of steam. Anthony Dodd, 7 News.
So let's bring in the Premier now to explain what this means, not just for workers, but for all Tasmanians. Premier, thanks for joining us. Now, how can you assure us tonight that service delivery won't be affected?
Well, we're entering a new era of opportunity in Tasmania, Kim. I'm very excited about our future and we need to keep that growth happening. I'm very happy with our economic growth here in Tasmania, very happy with the unemployment rate, of course, which continually leads the nation. But now's not the time to rest on our laurels. We have to keep driving forward. We've got more to do, and particularly in the areas that Tasmanians care about, particularly when it comes to putting roofs over people's heads and building more homes.
But again, will services be cut if you're cutting jobs?
We believe that we can streamline our delivery arm when it comes to better schools, better hospitals, when it comes to building new homes for Tasmanians, our roads, our bridges, the things that people really care about in Tasmania and expect it to be done quickly and efficiently. And that's what Building Tasmania does. It actually drives productivity within the public service and recognises the fact we need to keep going with our era of opportunity. Tasmanians have worked so hard over the course of the last 11 years. Now's not the time to stop. It's now time to keep moving forward.
Speaking of working hard, the public sector union and its members work hard. Now, they are outraged by today's decision. It's another blow to those workers. Will it further fracture your relationship with them given the disputes that are ongoing at the moment?
Look, we've always wanted to sit down and support our public service for wage increases. We believe in good faith negotiations. That's exactly what we did 3 years ago. It's what we intend to do now. We value our public service. We want to ensure that we have the right size public service that Tasmania can afford, but continues to get things done. Building Tasmania is part of that, but also to ensure that we continue building our workforce in health and education as well. We value our public service, we'll continue to do so because Tasmanians deserve a growing economy and a caring community.
Okay, Premier, we are out of time, but thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, to the Middle East now, and in a dramatic escalation in the war, America is warning the hardest hits are yet to come as Iran threatens to blow up more oil tankers. As missiles rain down on both sides, Westerners in more than a dozen countries have been told, get out now. It's also been revealed Australian troops survived an attack by Iranian drones on their base in the UAE.
The capital of Iran under a modern-day blitz.
What?
Nothing untouchable. Missile after missile slams into the city.
What?
Nothing off limits. Tehran feeling the full force of Israel and American fury. The hospital struck. Incredibly, no one was injured. The US claiming the joint operation is ahead of schedule now. Day 3 ended with 1,200 total targets struck, hunting out Iran's military assets to cripple its nuclear ambitions and break its terrorising grip on the nation.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
But Iran's regime hangs on, battered, not yet broken, and able to inflict another day of revenge, firing back and punishing its regional neighbours, American allies. Attack drones striking the Al Manad airbase in Dubai, a key facility for over 100 Australian troops based there. All were okay. In Saudi Arabia, the US embassy also attacked by drones. Assaults too on a critical oil refinery, one of the largest in the world. Iran is declaring war on global energy, issuing a warning they'll set fire to any ship trying to pass the crucial Straits of Hormuz. Tonight, it's effectively closed. New pictures in on the drone strike on the British airbase in Cyprus, Jordan, the UAE, Israel, all taking hits in the last 24 hours. The loss of life in the region pushing near 600. Confirmation the US has now lost 6 personnel since epic fury began on Saturday. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site where 9 died sitting in their shelter, declaring that this war is helping the world.
If they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity.
But his country's famous Iron Dome defence is stretched. It can stop 90% of the missiles, hunting them down in the sky. Here, 11 are chasing one of Iran's. They lock in on the target, but it can fail. A new front opened to the north, Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah through to Beirut after the terror group attacked Israeli villages. 52 killed, while thousands fled the barrage of missiles.
Is it gloves off now with Hezbollah?
Hezbollah made a great mistake and they'll pay for that mistake.
The IDF's chief international spokesman tells 7 News this will not stop until the mission is done.
We're fighting for freedom, for stability, and it's an Israeli problem right now. It could be an Australian problem tomorrow.
But as we're filming...
Still evaluating the numbers.
Right.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Well, we appreciate your time. Are you coming with us?
Even a military base isn't safe from the threat. All of us forced to head for the bunkers.
The Israeli Defence Force told us here today that the regional spread of this war and its rapid spill into multiple countries came as no surprise, insisting they were not only expecting it, they were prepared for it.
It is an unpredictable war. 3 American fighter jets down. one spiralling out of control after being caught in friendly fire over Kuwait. All 6 specially trained pilots managed to escape safely.
You're safe, you're safe.
Parachuting to the ground.
Thank you for helping us.
If Iran keeps retaliating, America is promising more to come.
The hardest hits are yet to come from the US military.
But what defines mission accomplished? No one seems able to say.
Let's go to Chris Reason in Tel Aviv now. Chris, there's been fresh hits on Lebanon.
Well, Kim, the skyline between the northern border of Israel all the way through to Beirut in Lebanon is thick with smoke this morning after that fresh round of attacks from Israeli fighter jets pinpointing what they say are Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. I asked that senior Israeli commander whether or not there was a chance his army would launch a ground force invasion. He refuses again to rule it in or out. And I said, what are the chances of this Operation Epic Fury descending into the sort of chaos we saw back in the Gulf War 2003? He said the risks of inaction were far greater than the risks of taking action. That was before the interview was cut off by that fresh round of missile alerts. Kim?
Okay, thanks, Chris. Chris Reason in Tel Aviv for us there. Well, it has been revealed Iran was boasting to US negotiators it had enough enriched uranium to make 11 nuclear bombs. Donald Trump remains adamant the country will never have nuclear weapons at any cost.
At the White House, to a welcome of trombones and horns, the US president was trumpeting war.
We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
Waxing lyrical about ballroom renovations.
I picked those drapes in my first term. Then when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly.
But it's the demolition of Iran, of which he's proudest right now. Honouring families of dead soldiers from wars of the past, as America's toll from Iran doubles to 6. That under a president on a campaign promise.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
And in the American heartland, not everyone's happy.
I think it's terrible. This could go on for years.
Are you trying to kill us? Are you trying to cause a World War III?
Today, from the Secretary of State, why America moved and why it moved now. Israel, he said, was going in anyway.
We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces, and we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties, and then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
And for the first time since the strikes began, we've heard from the Secretary of Defence, Pete Hegseth, who sought to allay fears that this would be another endless war in the Middle East, saying that this is not Iraq.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. Our generation knows better, and so does this president.
The same from J.D. Vance, who surfaced today too.
There's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight.
But there are mixed messages from Trump and his team. The president wants Iranians to oust the regime.
Take over your government. It will be yours to take.
This is not a so-called regime change war.
And on the timeline,
4 to 5 weeks.
4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up, it could move back.
Still, the Defence Secretary, a former soldier himself, came out guns blazing.
We'll go as far as we need to go violently. We set the terms. We fight to win, and we don't waste time. And we will kill you.
In Washington, D.C., Rob Scott, 7 News.
Iran has attempted to launch a fresh attack on Cyprus, where Britain has a strategic airbase. Let's head to Europe correspondent Ben Downey in London. Ben, what more can you tell us?
Kim, the Cypriot government has revealed Iran launched 2 more attack drones at RAF base Akrotiri, but thankfully they were intercepted before they caused any damage. It follows Sunday's drone attack, which dealt minimal damage. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said the British bases in Cyprus are not being used by US bombers to attack Iran, and that Britain has only allowed the US limited use for defensive purposes. It creates a split between the US and UK that typically enjoy what's called the special relationship. Tonight, the closest of allies drifting apart. Kim.
Okay, thank you very much there, Ben Downey from London. And as the world watches the actions of the US and Israel, our government is in a tricky diplomatic position between support for Donald Trump's action and whether it's within international law. It's been a juggling act for Anthony Albanese to spell out Australia's stance.
Against the backdrop of Emirates aircraft grounded from flying out to the Middle East, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney flies in to Sydney. For the Australian government, a like-minded leader on Iran, both countries insisting...
We support the US-led action here.
But with qualifications.
At its core, this is about preventing Iran from ever being able to acquire a deployable nuclear weapon.
Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
And to prevent Iran from continuing to threaten international peace and security.
Like-minded too on dodging questions on Donald Trump's other objective, forcing regime change in breach of international law.
It is for the US and Israel to explain the legal basis.
From Liberal Andrew Hastie.
War is one of those things that's very unpredictable.
Something his frontline role with the SAS in Afghanistan taught him.
It's a very high-risk strategy for President Trump, and we don't know which way it's going to go.
Mark Carney will address the Parliament here on Thursday. Canada's position, like Australia's, one of strategic ambiguity, all the way with Donald Trump, except when he's breaking international law, while other leaders aren't so subtle. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemns the US-led strikes as unjustified, banning the US from using joint bases in Spain, while Britain's Sir Keir Starmer backtracks, allowing the US to use Britain's Indian Ocean bases in Diego Garcia. But
we are not joining the US and Israeli offensive strikes.
And France's Emmanuel Macron increases his own stockpile of nuclear warheads, while in our region, Indonesia's Prabowo Subianto, the leader of the world's largest Muslim state, is offering to broker peace with Iran, something that tonight seems a long way away.
It does. Well, the conflict has thrown travel plans into chaos for thousands of Australians, and the situation is changing by the hour. Laura Turner has the latest developments.
A handful of flights did take off from Abu Dhabi and Dubai last night, despite that airspace being closed. They were mainly cargo and repatriation flights with Etihad and Lufthansa, landing in a number of cities, including Amsterdam, Paris, Munich and London. Given the precarious security situation, these A380s took off and climbed fast. Air trackers showed them travelling at 3,000 feet per minute, which is double the usual speed. DFAT is now advising Australians not to travel to the UAE and for those already there to shelter in place. Anyone in Israel, Iran, UAE or Qatar is encouraged to register with DFAT's crisis registration portal. Emirates and Qatar Airways still aren't taking off from that airspace either. Etihad is operating specially approved repatriation flights out of Abu Dhabi. The US has advised its citizens to immediately leave the region, though it's not offering evacuation flights. For Australians wanting to travel to Europe, the best bet is with Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, or with one of the many Chinese airlines.
Okay, thanks, Laura. We'll leave our Iran coverage there. And locally again now, the Health and Community Services Union is threatening escalated strike action amid stalling wage negotiations. The state government maintains it's engaging in good faith as the dispute reaches 6 months without a deal.
What do we want? Fair pay! When do we want it? Now!
Health workers pushed to their limit, fighting for a fair go. Unions back for round 2 after a wage offer fell apart at the 11th hour.
The health system is failing and it's going to be exposed because workers are saying enough's enough and we're going to hold the government to account.
Hundreds of hospital staff walking off the job in Launceston, following in the footsteps of their counterparts in the northwest yesterday. This stop work order lasted just 60 minutes, but soon strikes could run 8 hours or even a full day.
Our first concern is patients and patient welfare, so we always make sure that our bans have the least impact on patients within the hospital.
Union leaders say the inconvenience to Tasmanians is a fair price to pay. They hope mounting operating costs and lost work hours will be enough to bring the state government to the table.
I wanted a pay rise for hard-working public servants before Christmas. All right?
Our staff and the members I speak to do feel overworked and undervalued by the Premier.
It's a different story for local doctors, the Australian Medical Association securing a 3% pay bump overnight.
And we support the other unions doing what they need to do to attract and retain their healthcare workers.
HACSU waiting on a time and place to do the same.
You name it, we will be there. We want to resolve this dispute. It's the government that's choosing not to.
Aaron Smith, 7 News.
The Premier has written to the federal government calling for 31 hectares of surplus defence land at Hobart's Dowsing Point to be released for new homes. He says the site could deliver up to 400, easing Tasmania's housing crisis. The announcement comes as the state also looks to sell nearby Wilkinson's Point for a $500 million commercial and community development. Nick Kelly joins us now with a look ahead to sport. And Nick, the Jackies have had their last training session before Thursday's final.
Yeah, and Scott Roll says he's been going pretty easy on them this week, Kim, not wanting to risk losing any more players from his already depleted side. But there is some good news on the injury front, that's just ahead. Geelong coach Chris Scott has lashed out at the AFL over the treatment of one of his stars. And the Tigers debrief on a WNCL season that started well before going pear-shaped. Hear from the coach later in sport, Kim.
OK, thank you, Nick. We will see you then. A quick-thinking neighbour and the expertise of paramedics have saved a holiday from turning to tragedy. Up next, the heartwarming reunion between a tourist and those who saved his life. Also ahead on 7 News, Savannah Guthrie's emotional tribute to her missing mum. And then the Clintons explode amid questions over Epstein, the moment they're grilled over links to the sex trafficker. An appeal hoping to overturn a trespassing conviction against environmentalist Bob Brown has been delayed. The hearing began yesterday but was today adjourned until April, when it will reconvene before 3 Supreme Court judges. It follows an interaction with police back in 2022 where Mr Brown refused a request to leave a logging site in Snow Hill. He claims he was there protecting the critically endangered swift parrot. A Hong Kong man visiting family in Hobart has survived a cardiac arrest thanks to the quick thinking of a neighbour and the expertise of paramedics. He's since been discharged from hospital and is now well enough to thank the people who saved his life.
18 days after suffering a cardiac arrest while walking with his daughter, Kiah had a heartfelt message for those who acted so quickly.
Just want to say thank you for that. Really thank you to save my life.
It happened in Mount Stewart. Troy's screams for help heard by neighbour Fiona, who performed CPR for 8 minutes before help arrived.
That 8 minutes felt so long, but incredibly grateful for all the support.
I think my last first aid course was like 18 years ago. I need a refresher.
But in that moment and until paramedics arrived, it didn't matter. In 15 minutes, Kay's heart restarted.
Having a neighbour to turn up and do CPR, having our good SAM responder come and do CPR, and having one of our local resources with defibrillation absolutely makes a significant difference.
Following a stint in hospital, Kay was today finally well enough to show his appreciation.
In an emergency, the best first point of call should always be 000. But the more Tasmanians who know how to perform CPR, the better. And who knows, one day it might just save a life.
When someone suffers a cardiac arrest, their chances of survival decrease by 10% with every minute that passes, without chest compressions and without defibrillation.
His family continuing to count their lucky stars and enjoying the time they have left before Kay heads home to Hong Kong.
If it were happened at any other time when Dad was alone, it would be a different outcome as well.
Ruby Cairns, 7 News.
Video of the Clinton depositions has been released. Over 9 hours of questioning on what they knew about Jeffrey Epstein. At one point, Hillary Clinton blew up when a congressman leaked a photo from the deposition to a Conservative influencer.
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
You will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Republicans also asked her about UFOs and internet conspiracy theories. Bill Clinton was pressed on hot tub photos of him in the Epstein files. They have both denied any wrongdoing. Savannah Guthrie has made an emotional return to her missing mother's home in Arizona, where police believe the 84-year-old was abducted a month ago. The US Today Show host was seen embracing her sister and brother-in-law and laying down yellow flowers, later posting a photo of the growing floral tributes to Instagram with the caption, "Bring her home." Meanwhile, local investigators say they are definitely closer to finding Nancy Guthrie. A young thief has survived a death-defying crash in a stolen car in Melbourne's west before vanishing into the night. The force was so great it split the car in two, and wherever he is, police say he will be badly injured.
On the loose and out of control in a stolen SUV. The young man crashing into a tree in Seabrook with so much force the vehicle split in two.
I actually thought it was two cars at first, and then the cops told me that it was one car.
I was scared for the driver.
I thought there's no way anyone could have walked out of that car.
But the driver did. Just 5 minutes earlier, the Toyota Kluger had been stolen in a carjacking at Laverton train station. Then 2 kilometres around the corner, his alleged joyride ended, his getaway did not.
For someone to apparently allegedly walk away, it's almost, just out of this world.
With the wreckage strewn everywhere, police brought in the sniffer dog, searching bushes and backyards, but still no luck.
It's incredible they couldn't find the driver last night. Apparently they still haven't found him.
They did come to my backyard. He had obviously fled, but where he went, nobody knows.
Not only is it a miracle anyone survived this crash, for one resident it's a miracle the Toyota hit this tree. If it hadn't been there, the SUV would have ploughed straight into his property. And this afternoon, police returned to search the area, still hunting this man who is likely seriously injured. Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
Well, an investigation is underway into a deliberately lit house fire in a Launceston suburb early this morning. Emergency services attended Iona Court in Ravenswood around 2:30 to find a house engulfed in flames. No one was home at the time and the property sustained significant damage. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. A local council is rewarding big builds with ambitious designs. After the break, see the award-winning properties which have caught judges' eyes. And then from supermarkets to super balances, how the unfolding situation in the Middle East is set to impact Australians. You're watching 7 News Tasmania, and here are some of our top stories tonight. Dramatic escalation in the Middle East. America warns the hardest hits are yet to come as Iran threatens to blow up more oil tankers. 250 jobs slashed. The government scraps the Department of State Growth and creates a new agency called Building Tasmania. And doctors' pay rise secured, but other health workers are still locked in a bitter pay dispute as strike action rolls on. Today marks 15 years since American tourist Rachel Fenari went missing on Bruny Island. The 35-year-old journalist from New York had planned to walk near Adventure Bay before returning to Melbourne, but she never made her flight home. In 2012, a coroner found Rachel most likely died on the day she went missing, but her body has never been found. A missing persons report remains open, and anyone with information is urged to contact police. 2 ambitious new homes and a renovated shack is showing how Tasmanian property developers are thinking outside the box. West Tamar Council recognising excellence in planning and construction with its Design Awards.
Perched on an inhospitable Trevallyn Hill,
It's one of the steepest blocks that are in the area. It was full of trees, full of rocks.
These modern units transforming an almost unusable vacant lot into an eye-catching masterpiece.
We tried to keep the shape as simple as we could.
Overlooking the city, it's not hard to see why the 3-unit development was named Best Multiple Dwelling.
They're not just visually appealing, but structurally they're actually achieving something as well.
Not far away in Riverside, another incline presented similar challenges. It was a year of bad weather and a difficult site to build on. But this striking yet refined home and winner of Best Single Dwelling adapts to the landscape with ease. This job was designed in such a way that it used the land really well. And it was drawn up with practicality in mind, utilising lightweight materials. Which made it easier to cart up and down the hill and get up on the walls. Just down the river, the Best Renovation winner is breathing new life into this waterfront home at Greens Beach.
There was an original shack in the really truest sense from 1982.
Beachside beauty showing off what a new take on an old classic can do.
Creating a whole that melds together the new and the old in a seamless way, I think it's very valuable.
Tasmanian designers and builders showing why West Tamar is one of the fastest growing regions in the state.
You can go to many of the suburbs and find one here and one there and one somewhere else.
Tom Crosby, 7 News.
The Reserve Bank Governor has delivered a stark warning to Australians as war in the Middle East creates fresh economic uncertainty. Michelle Bullock refusing to rule out another interest rate rise as drivers become the first to feel the fallout.
Drivers lining up to top up before petrol prices rise as the RBA governor warns there could be more pain on the way.
A supply shock of this nature, for example, could add to inflation pressures.
Michelle Bullock says it's too early to tell how the Iran conflict will impact our economy, but admits inflation and interest rates could stay higher for longer.
Events are moving rapidly and there are different ways that this can play out.
The fallout is already being felt on global oil markets. Here, wholesale regular unleaded has jumped 5.5 cents a litre since Saturday. Diesel, 5 cents.
What happens in the Middle East in the next few days and weeks will be critical.
Australia enters this period of great instability, very well prepared. There is no need to rush to the service station and fill up.
But that's exactly what some Australians are doing.
The price is going to go up.
I'm just coming in because I saw the line-up and, war's going on.
Economists warn when fuel prices rise, it flows through the entire economy, impacting transport, groceries, goods and services, while disruption to global supply chains could cause further price pain.
I think that the air freight is the issue for immediate impact, but longer term is the sea freight, food, furniture, electronics, machinery, sporting equipment. Everything is pretty much imported.
If fuel prices rise and remain high, it'll make inflation even harder to control. The next interest rate decision is in a fortnight, with the door open for a back-to-back hike.
I'm not making a prediction about March, but it will be a live meeting.
While families struggle.
It's dire.
Georgia Holland, 7 News.
The controversial Kangaroo Bay Hotel proposal on Hobart's eastern shore is ploughing ahead, with the company behind the build lodging its major project impact statement to the Planning Commission. Despite an ongoing legal dispute with Clarence City Council, Shambroad Australia is optimistic for the future.
Ultimately, there has to be a reconciliation with Council. This project will be approved under state legislation.
The Planning Commission's assessment process will include 28 days of public exhibition. A rare lunar eclipse will see Tasmanian skies turn red tonight. Up next, the best vantage points to see the last blood moon anywhere on Earth for the next 3 years. And then meet the young quoll joeys, giving fresh hope to the vanishing Tasmanian species.
This summer, you're never far away from the news with the 7 News app. Download it now to be notified on the news that matters as it happens. Download the 7 News app now.
There are community hubs providing crucial medications and advice, and now some of our state's best pharmacists are preparing to head to the Gold Coast for the National Pharmacy Awards. Nominee for Community Pharmacy of the Year, Terry White in Sorrel, believe they're a good chance.
There's always training involved, so pharmacists upskilling to make sure that we've got the necessary skills and qualifications to be able to provide these services. But then there's the day-to-day operations of the pharmacy, looking at how we can improve workflows and efficiencies.
Hopefully we'll get it this year. We'll find out next week at the pharmacy conference. We'll hope for the best.
The National Award winners are announced next week. Let's take a look at the day's business and finance news brought to you by MCMF Investment and Lending. Soaring oil prices and economic uncertainty have led to sharp falls on the Australian stock market, with every sector except energy finishing in the red. The ASX 200 index plunging 123 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at close to 71 US cents and 53 Great British pence. Well, we have some breaking news now on a media bombshell. Kyle and Jackie O, radio's $200 million couple, are officially divorced and he's been threatened with a sack. Jackie O has just quit the program, claiming she can no longer work with Kyle. ARN has reacted by cancelling the show for good. The company says Sandilands' poor behaviour is an act of serious misconduct. He's been dragged off air for a fortnight and told to clean up his behaviour. Tasmania is set for a rare sight this evening as a total lunar eclipse descends on our night sky. The so-called blood moon will appear around 10 to 9 tonight as the Earth moves between it and the sun. It's expected to turn a distinctive red colour between 10 and 11 o'clock as the full eclipse gets underway. With clear skies forecast, those in the state's south will have a better chance of seeing the phenomenon as cloud coverage hinders stargazers in the north. There's fresh hope tonight for a threatened Tasmanian species. Eastern quolls, bred in captivity and released in the Midlands last year, have been found to be not only surviving in the wild, but to also be carrying joeys. This discovery by University of Tasmania researchers took them by surprise because released animals often face challenges simply surviving. They say it's a positive sign for the dwindling population. Nick Kelly is back with sport now. Nick, Geelong's coach has unleashed on the AFL.
Yeah, he's not happy with how the league bosses treated one of his players, Kim. Also next, what went wrong in the Tigers' WNCL season? And play underway as the Launceston International returns. It's do or die for the Jack Jumpers on Thursday night in their elimination qualifier. After limping to the finish line, ravaged by injuries, they're determined to overcome Melbourne United in enemy territory to keep their season going. Surrounded by the walking wounded at their final court session, training's been a delicate balance for the coach who can't afford to lose any more bodies.
We did some stuff down on the beach just for conditioning stuff, but we just had to be super careful. We haven't had a lot of 5-on-5 reps, and it is concerning getting a rhythm and playing in that kind of situation, but how far do you want to push it to actually get another injury? On the bright side, Anthony Drivic made it through the last few days and seems likely to return. We'll still have to manage his minutes, but that'll give us 9 going into the game, and we'll be careful with him. It's Tiger Campbell's first time playing finals in his professional career.
It means a lot, considering all the injuries we've had this year, and this is why you come to play basketball, to make it to the postseason and hopefully try to get some hardware.
The incoming Jules coach providing a few words of encouragement to Scott Roth. Not that the G'd-up Jackies need it, with a point to prove they'll be coming out swinging at John Cain Arena, knowing Melbourne United will be a tough opponent.
They got a great group of players over there. We're going to have to be obviously on point. We don't have much room for error, but we still feel like we can go in there and cause some problems. The Tigers women are regrouping and reviewing a disappointing end to the WNCL season after going from top of the table to not winning a single match after the WBBL break. But they did get to blood young guns Mia Barwick and Ava Curtis, and Rachel Treneman is back on top of her game, so the future is looking bright.
Lots of good things that have happened, but ultimately we wanted to bring the trophy back and we didn't do that, so we'll be reviewing and looking how that we can improve for next year.
Skipper Elise Villani hasn't decided how long she'll keep playing, but does have another season left on her contract. Geelong coach Chris Scott has taken aim at the AFL over the handling of young midfielder Tanner Broon, who sat out an entire year of football. While on a boost for the Cats there, 2 top stars will face the Suns on Friday night.
Searching for redemption after the heartbreak of September. But for one cat, this off-season has been longer than ever. Tanner Bruin didn't play a single game last year, dragged through the courts and eventually cleared of all charges against him.
It's just fantastic for him to get out there and be able to concentrate on footy, after what is, one of the most egregious injustices I can think of in the game. So to put that behind him, I think is positive for everyone.
An opening round clash with Gold Coast just 3 days away. Chris Scott confirmed he'll have 2 of his stars back from injury. Bailey Smith recovering from a calf issue and Jeremy Cameron a quad.
We don't have a very high tolerance for pushing guys that aren't ready. So that Jeremy and Bailey will clearly be ready from a physical perspective and they'll play.
Brian Myers testing out a glove at training. He's unlikely to play.
He had surgery on the thumb. He's got the all clear to play, but just because he can play doesn't mean he should.
Last year's grand finalists not underestimating the New Look Suns.
If you're coaching that team, I think rather than sort of thinking about what their biggest strengths are, the thing that would excite them is the lack of weaknesses. The Victorian team was pretty strong and it was basically the Gold Coast midfield. Plus the full forward and the full back as well. So strong all over the place.
Kate Massey, 7 News.
The Blues have confirmed prized recruits Jagger Smith and Harry Dean will both debut in Thursday night's season opener against the Swans. But coach Michael Voss is playing down expectation ahead of the new year.
2 fresh faces in navy blue to make their debut.
Might surprise you the first one. Jagger actually got a game.
The much-hyped Jagger Smith to be joined by father-son draftee Harry Dean, who was delighted to tell his dad Peter.
I'm playing Thursday.
He's really impressed so far in the exposure that we've had with him.
Whether Jacob Wiedering is there to go head-to-head with Charlie Curnow is still to be determined, stepping up his training after fractured ribs.
Wait and see. Like I said, it's all leaning towards the positive. So we sort of put friendships aside and we go into combat against each other. And I'm sure there'll be some gamesmanship within that.
I know the Carlton fans, they've showed their dislike for him, but our Swannies fans, they absolutely love him. I don't want to put any pressure on him, but like a bit of a buddy presence, like he brings that.
Last year, the Blues went into the season with high hopes of being a genuine contender. Fast forward 12 months and it's completely changed.
Don't know what those expectations are because I don't really pay a hell of a lot of attention to them. We could have upwards of, 10, 11 new players from how we finished last year to how we're going to turn up this year. So how can you compare what happened 12 months ago when you've got that almost half your team?
Expectations tempered too at the Saints after their off-season recruiting drive.
I think we've seen that multiple times in sports that teams they drag in XYZ player and all of a sudden everyone goes, they're going to make it happen, which it's just not the case because it's a team sport.
It all starts on Sunday at the MCG in a massive clash with the Magpies. Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
Burnie International runner-up Lee 2 has progressed to the second round on Launceston International's opening day. The Australian second seed overcoming a first set scare to beat Japan's Shinji Hazawa. Fellow Aussie Gabriella Da Silva Fick beating the Netherlands Demi Tran in straight sets to also progress. And Kim, that is the night in sport.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Kiah Wicks will join us after the break with the weather forecast.
Good evening. Launceston warmed to 26 today. The Harts Mountains took the low of 5.8. Around the grounds of the Apple Isle, 24 in Ouse, Smithton and Huonville 23, 22 in Devonport, Stratton 21, the Bass Strait Islands and Hobart 20 degrees, 19 at Lyowini and Friendly Beaches, 18 in St Helens. We experienced some cloudy conditions today across the state, but it remained muggy again in the north. A few light showers fell too there, but nothing significant, just 1 millimetre at Scottsdale since midnight. Now tomorrow we remain dominated by a weak ridge of high pressure that's currently sitting across the Bass Strait. That will extend over the state, a broad monsoon trough surrounded by embedded tropical lows evident about the far north. They could potentially develop into a tropical cyclone in coming days. I'll keep you updated in tomorrow night's weather segment. More sunshine on the way in Perth tomorrow, 36, stormy in Broome, 34, 30 and light showers in Brisbane, Sydney 29 degrees and a cloudy day in Melbourne with 22 expected there. Winds variable tomorrow morning at 10 knots. Now they'll shift west-northwesterly in the afternoon and increase to 30 knots about the southwest coast. With that comes a strong wind warning for those waters. Southwesterly swells will build up to 3 metres. To the southeast this Wednesday, Campania aiming for 28 tomorrow, Hobart, Kingston and Port Arthur 25, Dover also 25 and partly cloudy in Bushy Park with 23. Perfect conditions along the east coast of Tassie, a little cloudy in Launceston and Swansea with 26, much the same in Deloraine with 25, 21 in Georgetown and also at Lyoeni. Cloud may come and go towards the west. Sheffield 25, 24 in Smithton, Burnie and at Cradle Mountain. Murrawar and Strawn 21 and 20 at Lake St Clair. Thursday, showers likely to develop about the west and northeast, but fine elsewhere. Friday, showers about the west and the south, easing and contracting to the west throughout the morning, then clearing in the afternoon. Isolated light showers about the west on Saturday, but fine until evening showers develop about the central north. Fine also for the weekend in Hobart and Launceston, however somewhat cloudy. Showers are forecast in Devonport and Burnie for early next week. Hobart 17 degrees, Launceston 22, 19 in Devonport and 23 in Burnie. Now clear skies are likely for the lunar eclipse around the south tonight. Hopefully cloudy conditions lift elsewhere across the state. Kim.
I have to remember, otherwise it's 3 years before we see it again. Thank you, Kiah. Well, finally tonight, 2 koalas have come to blows on a Victorian street. This video captured the bout, showing the 2 creatures wrestling next to passing traffic. Neither could get the upper hand. Reaching a stalemate, they called it quits and climbed up a tree. That is nothing to my 2 boys from a few years ago. Thanks for your company tonight, everyone. For now, from the 7 News team, it is good night.